Hi, my name is Dani, and today I'm going to be talking about my Photoshop project. This was the first project I've ever done in Photoshop, and so my goal was just to get oriented as well as I could with the application. So I tried to do a lot of things that were a different variety of all of the many things you can do in Photoshop. I knew that I had kind of wanted to make an Andy Warhol type picture, but I really had no idea how to do that. So I started by just Googling a tutorial. And the one that I came up with, I just clicked on the first one I found, and it really was a great tutorial. I was a little bit concerned at first. It was using terms I hadn't heard of before, but with the help of the help menu, it really wasn't too difficult to figure out what they were talking about. And so I followed this tutorial, and it started out really basic, and then towards the end helped you add little different flares to it, like texturizing and stuff. And so that was really good for me. I learned how to use a lot of different filters and color contrasting and stuff like that, which I think was very beneficial to learning about Photoshop. So there's a lot of things you can do editing with color. And so the first photo I made, I just tried to follow the tutorial as close as I could, and I was still just kind of learning about Photoshop, where everything was located on the menus and the bars and everything as I went. And the first one that I did was this one, and it's a picture of like a close-up picture of me with sunglasses on, and that was, like I said, just my first one. And now looking back at it, I really don't like it that much, just because it wasn't quite as true to the effect as I wanted it to be. The second one that I did, I tried to remember the tutorial without going back and looking at it, and I think I missed a few steps in the filtering, kind of like this, where you could, on this tutorial, it says to do the cutout filter. I think I missed that entire step, so it didn't make the effect at all really like I wanted it to be. But my final Andy Warhol picture that I did was my favorite, just because I felt like it was a little bit more true to the idea of the whole effect anyway. I really liked having the contrasting colors, and it was something that was really fun to do because I got to play around with which colors looked good together and made the ones behind them pop out and stuff. So this is my favorite of the 3 Andy Warhol pictures that I did. Next, I just decided to do something with a violin, because I play violin, and I had taken a picture of my violin, and I just decided to incorporate that in some way, but I really had no idea how to do that. I looked up a few, like I tried searching up in here on Google just for Photoshop tutorial plus violin, and I didn't really get anything that I wanted. This is what I found, was this tutorial, and you can't really see exactly what it is. It's this little tiny picture right there is what it ends up being, and they go through the whole process of how they made that picture and everything. They called it a violin floral bouquet or something, and it had like blood drips down and everything. But that didn't really seem my style. I wanted something that was more me, since it was my violin and it's my Photoshop project. And so I followed their first step, just by cutting out my violin, which took a long time to get around all of this as perfect as I wanted it. So I ended up with just a blank canvas with my violin cut out on it. And then I went to brusheasy.com and brusheasy.com, and I downloaded several different brushes for Photoshop. And this, I had no idea that these even existed. I had never used brushes before in my life, and I found tons of brushes, and some of them, you know, I don't think I will maybe ever use again, but they were just really, really neat, and I loved just looking through all the different ones that they had and messing around with those. And I also worked on editing the colors and stuff. And so the picture that I ended up with is this one. And like this, all of this purple in the background was a brush, and then I applied different effects on it to make it kind of transparent. The circles here are brushes. Even this here, this music right there, that was a brush. You could choose different, it had like music and jazz and love and stuff like that, and that was a brush, as well as these music notes up here. And then also I found, I just Googled themed fonts and free themed fonts, and I downloaded a few, and this was a Disney one, and I love Disney, and my name starts with a D, so I thought it would be appropriate to put that down there. And so this one was a lot of just working with brushes and figuring out how all of those, how the brushes worked and the different things you can do with them. That was a lot of fun, and, you know, completely different from what I had done with my Andy Warhol, where I basically just worked with color. And so that was an interesting aspect to Photoshop that I didn't know about before. And for my last thing, I wanted to choose something that was different from either of the two that I had already, either two of the pictures I had already done, the violin or the Andy Warhol. So I chose to do stuff with fonts and then colors and stuff. And so I chose the Plain White Tea Song, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and I just kind of interpreted the, you know, there's only one way to say those 3 words for you, and I just tried to make, I had different fonts, like this is a font, and all this other things, I just kind of added in there and tried to see what looked best, and I added a gradient to the background, and it was kind of difficult for me to find a way to place these numbers behind the words and make it visually appealing. And so I got some help from some people with artistic eyes and got it figured out. And I did also use some stamps in here too, so I did carry over a little bit of my prior knowledge to do this one as well. And so that was my first Photoshop project, and I hope to do more in Photoshop later, maybe a little bit more advanced now that I know the basics, and also I know how to find things. Even if I don't know exactly how to do them, I know how to figure it out by using the oh so important help menu right here. It has saved my life. Like I didn't even know where to find a lot of things, and this helped me a lot. So that was very helpful. Plus, it also helps if you have tutorials and also friends that know Photoshop. So that is my Photoshop project, and if you decide to do Photoshop, I wish you the best of luck. It's a lot of fun, and it's also a little challenging at times, so good luck.